Welcome to Hook Connections. Last week we were really excited about the guest that we have on this week. First of all, I'm Barbara Hook with Hook Connect. We connect you to the honest contractors and service providers. We do the research so you don't have to. And with a lot of the roofing companies and restoration companies that are biting the dust lately, there's not a better person to have in here than Michelle Mayer from the Indiana Attorney General's office. Thanks for coming, Michelle. Today she's going to focus on number one, what the Attorney General's office does for the consumer, and then probably the rest of the show will be all about how to hire those good contractors and what kind of research you should do. So welcome, Michelle. Thanks for coming to be on the show today. I refer everybody to the Indiana Attorney General's office, and I always check every business on the Attorney General's office to see if they've got a lawsuit pending or anything going on. So tell everyone exactly what you guys can do for the consumers in Indiana, when it comes to filing complaints and the processes and all that.
Well, first of all, I am the Director of Outreach Services, so it's my job to take the services of the office directly into communities. So, of course, I want to talk a little bit today about what we can do if someone has a problem, but I also want to remind your viewers, I hope they never have a problem.
Oh, yes,
I hope
absolutely.
They never have a complaint, and what part of what you do and what we're doing here today is to share good, thoughtful information so that the consumer, make the best decision possible.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be the second part of the show, but if you do have the unfortunate experience of hiring someone and you are not satisfied with the outcome, you can file a complaint with our office. And the 1-800 number at the bottom of the screen, you can actually call our call center and they will send out a complaint form, or you can go directly to our website at indianaconsumer.com 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and actually fill out a complaint form. And we receive several hundreds of complaints every year, thousands of complaints from consumers, and we mediate with the business. So that we contact them, let them know that a consumer's complaining, here's what the consumer is complaining about. And it's very important when you fill out a complaint form that you let us know what you want from the resolution. What resolution are you seeking so that we can ask for that in the letter that we send to the business.
Absolutely.
So usually we get a pretty good response back. They'll contact us back and tell us their side of the story or offer this remedy, and a lot of that pretty much resolves the situation many
So
cases.
at what point does the Attorney General then, because I know, that rip-off restoration company I worked for 4 months and saw the writing on the wall and left there, at what point does the Attorney General really get involved and go in and shut them down? Or
Well, if we see a pattern of deception or a pattern of poor service, which means we have 6-7 consumers filing complaints about the same company, then we many times will file litigation. And
I see.
One of the immediate things that we would do is process a cease and desist letter, and then we would go through the court system and sue that provider, and we've done that in many cases.
Right.
So you never know, if when you're filing your individual complaint, you don't know if you're the only one who suffered. You don't know if this is the first time that
Now, is there a place to actually go look on this? Is that where you do the search to see if complaints have been filed?
You can call our office. You can call the 1-800 number in the bottom of the screen. And when an individual files a complaint with our office, there is a little section that says, do you mind, can we share your complaint with the public? So there's all sorts of things, like you can say, no, I don't want my name shared. I don't want anything to do with my complaint shared. But most people do allow that they have a complaint against that company, and that's important to allow us to share that, because if someone calls and says, do you have any complaints against such and such, if the complainant has checked the box that we can share that information, then we can say, yes, we have 10 complaints.
So is there any place that the consumer can, or any specific emails that the consumer or myself as Hook Connect can send an email, just a quick email, could you research this company and tell me if there's any complaints?
No,
Can we
you would
do
just
that?
call our number
Okay,
and ask
okay,
the call
great.
center, and they'll go right into our database and tell you if we've had any complaints on them and if they're resolved or if they're
Okay,
pending.
great. So can you, for the people that are going to be listening on the radio, can you repeat
Sure.
that 1-800 number?
That's 1-800-382-5516. And the call center representatives, they're very well versed on what topics we can actually assist consumers with. Give them a call, let them know if you have any questions, or ask them about any companies that you're thinking about hiring.
So we just have a couple minutes left of this segment. Can you just kind of briefly tell the consumer what is the biggest complaints, the most complaints that you have types of businesses? So do you have most of your complaints on contractors? Are they on cable providers, as we talked before the show? Are there certain niche businesses that get more complaints than others, is what I'm saying?
We do get a lot of complaints about home repair scams. Mm-hmm. And, I say that lightly because, not every contractor is going to be out there wanting to scam someone. It just may be that on your job, they provided shoddy work, or they got busy, or they became ill, or they ran out of money and they used some of the money that you put down on your job for something else. And it doesn't matter what the excuse is. It's unfortunate if you're the consumer and it's your job that they don't give 100% and they don't complete properly.
Right.
But yes, we do see many complaints in the home repair category.
Well, and I think probably a lot of those complaints too are because their insurance agent may not inform them properly, or their claims department for the company that they might have turned an insurance claim in, and they allow that contractor to have all of that check. Or they just sign over or endorse all of those checks without reading that contract that they're signing with that contractor. So that happens on a regular basis, I know. One that I'm very well aware of was 42 counts of home improvement fraud and theft. Now, that has already gone to Hancock County, and he pled guilty to 16 counts. So when will it come back to the Attorney General? That was in a private suit. Mm-hmm. When will it come back to the Attorney General, who initially filed the charges, to finish all the rest of the counties and the people in the rest of the areas? Do you know that?
No, but I also want to make it clear that even though you get a judgment against somebody, if they've spent all the money,
I know.
It's not always...
So he's making restitution.
It's not always the case that we're able to make restitution back to the customers, and that's why it's so important that we get it out in front of these jobs before a person's even hired, so that people are reducing the risk of hiring someone who's not going to do a good job.
Right. Well, you're going to learn a lot more the second and third segments, because she's going to tell us all how to do our due diligence and the research before we hire contractors. So we will be right back shortly.
When Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage: Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Welcome back to Hook Connections, and our guest today is Michelle Mayer. Again, I'm Barbara Hook with Hook Connect. You can reach me at 317-473-3778. Again, thanks for coming today, Michelle. We also want to thank Logan Street Signs and Banners and Wofford Theater for allowing this show to occur. This segment, and probably the third segment too, I would like help us and help me educate the consumer on what they should do before they hire a contractor. You know, the steps they should maybe take before they hire someone and the research they should do.
Well, I talked a little bit earlier about home repair jobs and where we get a lot of complaints. And one thing I want to stress is we see a lot of these complaints following a storm. So let's say a tornado comes through or a hailstorm and your roof gets damaged or windows. And we call a lot of these companies that come in storm chasers. So the first tip that I want to share is if you all of a sudden have some repairs that need to be made to your home because of a storm, be very leery about someone knocking on your door. So if you know that you need something done, it's best for you to do the research and maybe talk to your insurance company ahead of time, and you keep that line of communication going with your insurance company so you have an idea of what they're going to cover, how much they're going to pay, and talk to your neighbors, talk to friends, talk to family members, talk to people at church, and get some references from contractors that they have used and that they have been pleased with their work. So if someone's just knocking on your door...
Or they could call Hook Connect because I do the research for them.
But be very leery about someone just knocking on your door.
Right.
So if someone does come to your door and you're interested in checking them out, make sure that they're local. Try to find someone local. Make sure they're locally licensed and insured and bonded to do business in your county. That's very important. And I know sometimes we don't feel comfortable asking those questions, but if a contractor is giving you an estimate or a quote while you're sitting at the table, ask them for proof of insurance. So what that means is they might have something that they carry with them, or they might have to contact their insurance company and show you that proof of insurance.
Right.
You can also contact the Secretary of State's office and see if they're licensed to do business in your county. And that's very important because a lot of the complaints that we see, that's the first thing we do is when we're looking at the complaint, we're checking to see if that contractor was even licensed. And many times they're not.
Of course, a lot of the different types of contractors don't require licensing, but they require, but you should definitely make sure that they're registered to do business in this state.
Yes.
And that's what the Secretary of State does.
But some of the contractors that you're hiring, if you're doing like a bathroom remodel.
Oh, yeah. Plumbers, electricians, HVAC.
You need to make sure the people they're hiring then,
Yeah.
the person that comes in to install the plumbing is
And
licensed.
it's another important thing to ask them to get a permit if they're required to versus sliding over that part and not doing that.
I'm not quite sure. I think permit requirements vary from, community to community. But if you're hiring someone who's qualified to be your contractor, they should know what those requirements are
Right.
in your area.
Because a lot of those door knockers, they just have, some of these people are just, they're just good salespeople,
And ask them if it's somebody now that you've got it narrowed down, try to get at least 3 estimates. And
Right.
you've got it narrowed down to 3 people, ask them for references. If you don't know someone who's used them, ask them, can you give me names and telephone numbers of the last 3 jobs that you've done? And then you call those people and ask them, would you hire them again? Are you satisfied with the the final project. And that really can make a difference, because that's the only way you know is
Right.
from the past history.
Right.
Now, having said that, you never know when someone may not do a good job. You don't know if this is the first
Absolutely.
time that they're not going to.
They may
You're
have
not going to
done
have a
great for your neighbors
successful
or your
project.
brother or your
Right.
cousin, but
So you can never always totally prevent it, but what you can do is just watch for some red flags. And one thing I really want to warn your viewers about is if someone's pressuring you to make a quick decision, the red flag should go up. If it's
Okay.
high pressure sales, they're offering you a special discount, you have to decide by 5 o'clock tonight. I also want to remind your viewers, if someone comes to you, to your door, even if you sign a contract, you have 3 days to cancel that. Now, that does not apply to someone that you have called and you've invited them to come to your house and sit down and give you an estimate. I'm talking about just random.
Door
You have
knockers.
not made an appointment. It's someone who's come to your house. They want to put a sealant on your driveway. They want to repair your roof or do something, and you've not called them to your home. If they do not show you a piece of paper when you're sitting down and signing anything, showing you that you have that right to cancel the contract within 3 days, the red flag should go up, because they are required by law to inform you that you have that right. If it's anybody selling a vacuum cleaner, selling kitchen knives, whatever, if they've come to your door without an appointment, you always have 3 days to cancel any contract that you have signed, and they have to show you that you have that right to cancel within 3 days.
well, that's interesting. I did not know that. Very interesting. So, if you did not sign a contract, and I guess the question I need to ask is, what amount of money should the consumer pay that contractor prior to starting of a job?
Well, first of all, you need to make sure you have something in writing. Whether you call it a contract or not, you want to make sure that that contractor has given you an estimate in writing before you start any work. We advise individuals to only put a third down. If it's a reputable contractor, they're going to have some sort of affiliation with a supplier or some sort of cash flow that they can go out
Right.
and get the supplies that they need
Like
to get
on a
your job
30-day
started.
pay, yeah.
Now, if somebody's telling you, we need everything up front on day one because we have to go buy the shingles for your house, then again, the red flag should go up, because that doesn't sound like somebody that you want to do business with. So we encourage individuals to put the maximum down, a third, and then wait until the job is complete, put another third down, and wait 2 weeks after the job. Make sure that you're happy with your new bathroom, nothing's leaking, the toilet's continuing to flush, everything's working well, and then give them the final third if the contractor will allow you to wait
Yeah,
until
and if
2
not,
weeks
maybe
after.
it might not be the contractor you want to work
Yeah,
with.
but never give the contractor a full 100%, and never have the insurance company deal directly with the contractor and give them that full check amount up front before anything's signed.
And the consumer just probably thinks that's easiest. Well, we need to take another break before our next segment. I want to again thank Michelle for being on the show today. It's so educational to have someone in here that knows all about consumer protection. So we will be right back.
You know, when Margaret and I decided to sell the old estate here, we had only one choice in signage. Logan Street signs and banners. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore, but rather located on 10th Street on the south side of Noblesville. Well, we sold the old beauty, and we were able to buy this wonderful estate. And we had so much money left over, I was able to buy this beautiful 1968 Eldorado Cadillac for Margaret. Only 472,000 miles. Margaret loves it because it's got those big seats and that heavy-duty suspension to support her svelte frame. Next time you're looking for signs or banners, call old Jim at Logan Street Signs and Banners, 773-7200. Conveniently not located on Logan Street anymore.
Everyone knows it's easy to find first-run movies in the big theaters. But But where can you go to watch your favorite classic movies on the big screen for the perfect night out? Why rent a flick when you can rent the entire theater? Call today to reserve our 32-seat theater for your next event, or just stop by to see what's showing this weekend. The 14 by 7 foot screen and the high quality digital surround sound system offers all the amenities you would expect from the big theaters, with a laid back atmosphere and comfortable seating of your own home. Wofford Theater at 1744 South 10th Street in Noblesville gives you the classic movies you want with a big theater experience.
Welcome back to Hook Connections. Time really goes fast when we're learning so much, and we might want to have Michelle on again by the end of the year to talk about some of the scams that are out there in other avenues. So, Michelle, if you would, could you just reaffirm to people how they can reach out to you, both by email and your phone number?
Sure, you can contact our office at 1-800-382-5516. And you can also go right on our website at indianaconsumer.com. We have lots of good information about all sorts of topics. You can probably spend a couple of hours on there just looking at all the different things that we have. And if you are looking for a speaker on any of these topics, including consumer protection, identity theft prevention, or just warning individuals about the latest scams and frauds that we're seeing, you can email my division at outreachservices@atg.in.gov. All of our services are free.
Good. Okay, let's continue and just talk about, for the rest of the show, any other advice you have before somebody goes to hire even a business, before they go hire a service provider or a contractor?
Well, many of the complaints that we receive would involve the timeline for a contractor to complete a job. So let's say you hire someone, and I guess in your mind, you're thinking that your job is the most important. So you're picturing the contractor going out that day and getting your supplies and starting your job, and that may not be what the contractor has in mind.
Absolutely.
He might have several other jobs. So when you are working on a contract with a contractor, make sure you discuss what that timeline is going to be. Actually say, when will you be getting started on the job? How long do you think it might take to complete the job? Maybe what the different stages are. And if you come into any trouble along the way, how much would that delay the job? Like, let's say the tile doesn't come in on time, or something happens where the plumbing's not plumbed right and they have to wait for somebody else to come in and do that part.
Right.
So what would be the expectation of the contractor on completing the project? What would be the minimum time that he's picturing, and what would be the maximum time? Because many times a disgruntled consumer is because the timeline and the expectations are not there.
I bet you and your
up front.
husband really check people out before they do work for you, don't you?
We do, and we do live in a neighborhood where we get a lot of people knocking on our door. So one of the things that I personally do is I put a no solicitation sign on my door, and that really
Okay.
does stop a lot of the individuals from actually knocking on my door or ringing my doorbell. I would never hire someone just coming up to my door, because I don't like to be pressured. If I'm out gardening or working in my yard or playing with my dogs, I'm not in the mindset that I want to hire someone. And when I go out to hire someone professionally, I do the research, and then I'm in a different mindset, and
Absolutely.
I want to make sure
Absolutely.
I check them out. And one of the things that a lot of individuals don't understand is you have the right to tell someone to get off your property.
Okay.
You don't have to listen to their spiel. You don't have to answer the door. I know that in my neighborhood there's a lot of crime, and that's one of the things that they do is they knock on your door first, and then if you're not home they might break down a door or something. If you want, you can talk to them through the door and say, please go away, I'm not interested. But, there's no law that says that you have to talk to them and listen to their spiel. And if you're going to the state fair or other expos or healthcare forums and there's door prizes that are being offered, there might be a box on that door prize entry that says, please do not contact me other than for the door prize. Make sure that you check that box, because that's where we see a lot of individuals receiving extra solicitations, even though they might be on the do not call list and they're not supposed to be receiving calls from businesses.
Right.
If you fill out a door prize slip, they may put you on some sort of a mailing list. So make sure you check those boxes off and limit the number of people that are going to be contacting you that might distract you or might pressure you into buying something that you don't necessarily need. And then reserve the time when you are out shopping and looking for a service. Make sure that you're dedicated and you can pay attention to the
Right.
details to make the best
So
decisions.
do you think an individual should use any of the online review companies that are out there? Like Amazon's got their home services now, and of course we got Angie's List, who's been around forever, and there's Home Artisans. There's all kinds of review companies that those companies don't do their research on their providers.
I mean, you can certainly look at those, but I would not make that 100%
Okay.
of what I'm looking at, because you never know if it's paid employees that are making those reviews.
Absolutely.
And it's real important whenever you look at a review that you, and I know more and more companies are doing this where they're making sure it's outside individuals and nobody from within inside the group
Right.
can make a review. And again, the best references are from people you know.
Mm-hmm.
You go to church on Sunday morning after service and you're socializing, ask your friends
Mm-hmm.
and ask your neighbors, have you remodeled a bathroom lately? Or I saw you got a new roof. Were you satisfied with the contractor that you hired? And get
And they'll be
information
honest.
word
Yeah.
of mouth from your friends and your neighbors. But don't let someone pressure you into hiring them with, we only have this special for the next 30 days or the first 100 customers get this certain price. No, you do not want to make
A lot of the window
decision.
companies are big into overprice, and then by the time they leave your place, it's a third of the cost. So, well, I totally appreciate you being here, and I'd love to have you back on the show towards the end of the year and talk about, maybe before Christmas, because everybody's going to get all these scam requests and money requests. I get almost 2 or 3 emails a week that are asking me to, that I have money available and it's sitting in an account in Australia, and that's not happening. So thank you for being on the show. We love to have you here because you're always so educational for the consumer. So next week, our guest is Scott Wise of Scotty's Brew House. He is the owner of Scotty's Brew House, and they are opening a location up here in Hamilton County in Noblesville. So I believe it's already opened, actually. It opens this weekend. But come back and hear more about Scotty's Brew House in the Noblesville area. And we will see you again next week.